Hey everybody, what's going on? Hellmite here, bringing another video from Grab the Lantern today. Now, those of you who've been following the channel for a little bit know about the video I made a little bit ago talking about Jak'Sho the Protean and how it was a completely terrible name. They renamed Jak'Sho Endurance for essentially no reason, and how unhappy I was with that name and how I was hoping Riot would change that name back. However, there have been some recent developments that lead me to believe that potentially this is one of the smartest things Riot have ever done, and this may be a tease for a new champion. And let me go ahead and start talking about what exactly it is I mean by this. Now, on Reddit earlier today, a user posted an image of them having built a Jak'Sho the Protean in their game, and essentially there was a line of text that said, Jak'Sho has found, the summoner worthy and has absorbed their power. This was then corroborated by another user who posted an image of their own gameplay with the exact same message. Now, according to these users, the only way to get these messages to appear seems to be that both players, one player on each team, has to build a Jak'Sho the Protean, and one of them has to be doing better than the other. That is the player that is the one that is deemed worthy. But two players have to be building Jak'Sho. And now, given that that Heartsteel has been all over the metagame, it's perhaps unsurprising that we've had two champions ever in a game that have both been building Jak'Sho the Protean. That does seem to be very interesting and not necessarily very clear, right? Especially given how how Heartsteel has just been the best thing that we've ever seen, right? But either way, the fact that this image is in means that maybe it was patched in recently. I know there was some digging into the patch logs because the original message was misspelled, and that there was some evidence in the patch logs to suggest that the misspelling was corrected going forwards. And this then is interesting because my first thought is that this was a fake, right? Any of these screenshots can be faked, and the misspelling in the middle of the message, missing a B in the word absorbed, that to me told me that maybe this is just a very convincing fake, especially because not very many people are commenting on this. But then the fact that there are patch logs that suggest that Riot have corrected this misspelling tells me that potentially this is intentional, and this is something that Riot have deliberately added to the game, either on the most recent patch or maybe they hotfixed it in. They don't have to tell us if they add content to the patch anymore. We know this because of their ability to add BMO to a patch and not tell us about BMO in advance. BMO did not go through PvE. They just added BMO to the patch, told nobody, and then when the patch went live, boom, new Teemo skin. And so, as a result of this, the Jak'Sho the Protean renaming might not be just because Riot wanted to make the items thematic resonance clear, right? One of the reasons why I considered that they might have renamed Jak'Sho Endurance to Jak'Sho the Protean was to get across the fact that Jak'Sho the Protean was intended to be not merely a void-looking helmet, but an entire void symbiote, right? That's flavor that you don't necessarily get across by just looking at the item image and by reading the name, Jak'Sho Endurance, but certainly if the item is called Jak'Sho the Protean, well, that at least calls to mind the other Void champions and sort of suggests that, hey, maybe this helmet is more than what it seems. The other thing to consider in this particular situation is the fact that the item has flavor text. This is the only mythic item to have flavor text. I think one of the only items, period, to have flavor text on it at all. And this, again, is a very interesting concept to think about. Again, initially when I saw this, my assumption was that Riot are trying to just make the flavor of the item clear, of course, right? Add the flavor text, give it an evocative name, and now players understand exactly what it is that Jak'Sho Endurance is supposed to be, or in this case, Jak'Sho the Protean is supposed to be. But again, this hasn't really seemed to be the case because of this new message. Instead of just being a way for Riot to get the flavor of the item across, this may be Riot trying to hint at a new champion potentially coming in the future. A champion called Jak'Sho, that if Jak'Sho absorbs enough energy, that eventually it will become a Voidborn all on its own, as opposed to just this helmet-shaped symbiote. And that, I think, would be very very creative because Jak'Sho, I talk about it a little bit more in my video, but Jak'Sho always bugged me because it's a helmet. Why does it deserve a name, right? Like, the only Voidborn that we know of that have names are Voidborn that are so well known that the people of Shurima, right, they've been cited enough times and that they're well known enough to the people of Shurima that they've received a Shuriman name, right? That's why all the Voidborn have the hyphenated names. It's not just that the Void names things, of course it doesn't, but it's that the people of Shurima have given them names indicating kind of what they do. I believe Rek'Sai, for example, is supposed to be like Queen of the Sai, Queen of the Desert, right? Something along those lines, I believe. And we know this because Sai is their word for desert. Rek could easily be like a modifier for Queen or or sovereign or something along those lines, right? There are definitely ways in which we could see that this worked out. And so a helmet, right, a helmet-shaped Voidborn didn't make any sense to me why it would receive this name, especially given that if it's well known enough in Shurima to have a name, what is this helmet doing other than being a helmet, right? It just didn't make any sense to me. But if we consider the fact that Riot have given it a Shuriman name, right, and if it's supposed to be a teaser for a champion, there may be some actual weight behind that name in the future. That said, there are a couple of complications. First of which is that this would be a really weird time for Riot to start teasing a new champion. We already know the order of champions that they've told us. The Ishtali Enchanter and the Darkened Mid Laner will be coming out before any other champion. Aurelion Sol's CGU should be somewhere in there as well. So it seems very odd to me that they would start teasing a new champion before these other releases have happened. Right? Like, I can totally see at some point they turn on that line of text and we start seeing what Jak'Sho is actually supposed to be like, but right now, it just doesn't make any sense to me. The tinfoil hat theorist in me says that maybe they're doing this now because they're trying to get people to stop building Heartsteel, and because both players have to build Jak'Sho, maybe if both players start building Jak'Sho, they won't be building Heartsteel instead, right? Like, maybe, you know, that's my tinfoil hat theory, but it's interesting to consider either way. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the Jak'Sho interaction, if it's real, especially. I haven't gotten it to trigger yet. That doesn't mean, though, that doesn't exist, and the fact that we have two individual users corroborating the story indicates that at the very least it's either a very convincing fake or that it does actually exist. So especially if you've seen it, let me know down in the comment section below, and what you think of any of this. If Jak'Sho may actually be a champion, let me know all that down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. If you enjoyed the video today, go ahead and leave it a like, and if you really enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I upload a video every Monday, Friday, and on patch days as well. Once again, thank you guys so very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I'll talk to you all later.